Our first puff-puff recipe is our sardine puff-puff. Have you had sardine puff-puff before? You only need one sardine. Take out your sardine, separate it from the oil, take it out of the tin, mash it, take as much bones as possible. Then you go on now to add in all your ingredients in your bowl. Don't worry, the ingredients and measurements to be in the description box. It is so easy. Go on now to add in your sardine oil and your meshed sardine. Add in milk or warm water. Either if you're using milk or warm water, make sure it is warm. Cover and allow it to proof for 45 minutes or 1 hour in a warm environment. Go on now with your fingers fully wet, scoop your butter and cut into fairly hot oil. Now this sardine puff-puff is so unique. If you are thinking of having puff-puff in another way, you have this puff-puff recipe on your table and you will enjoy it for any occasion, for family get-together or even for birthday party. Number 2 puff-puff you'll be learning in this video is Oreo Puff-puff. Have you heard of Oreo Puff-puff before? I know you are saying, Madam Debbie, you have come again. Don't worry, we are here to serve it to you hot. Adding all your ingredients into a bowl. The ingredients and measurements again will be in the description box. Add in vegetable oil. After which, go on now to mix them all together. Go on now to add in warm water and allow your batter to proof in a warm environment. This is pretty straightforward but yet a very yummy and delicious puff-puff recipe. You make sure that you add in your warm water in bits because you do not want your puff-puff batter to be too watery. Remember, after proofing it's going to be more watery, so you want it to be a little bit thick so that after proofing it to just be at the right consistency. You cover and allow it to proof for 45 minutes to 1 hour in a warm environment. After proofing, go on now to heat up your oil and fry on medium heat. Make sure your hands are fully wet. Go on now to add in your Oreo. Now at this stage, we're adding our crushed Oreo to our batter. I added our Oreo at this point because I want to maintain the crunchiness of the Oreo biscuit. Make sure your hands are wet. Mix your batter properly. Mix your Oreo biscuit properly into your batter. Scoop and cut into your oil. Cut whichever size that you want. Fry on medium heat until you have a consistently golden brown look. Take your Oreo puff-puff out of the oil, set in a sieve or salvet to strain excess oil, and this is what you get at the end of the day. Are you going to be trying out this recipe? It was yummy, guys. You need to try it. You will love it. Our third puff-puff recipe is no yeast puff-puff. Have you heard of no yeast puff-puff? This one, you're just going to add in your self-rising flour, add in your sugar, add in your baking soda, not baking powder. Mix all your ingredients together. Go on now to add in evaporated milk in your bowl. After which, add in 1 egg. Make sure all of them are at room temperature or normal temperature. Add in vegetable oil. Just a tablespoon of vegetable oil is fine. Add in any flavor of your choice. For this case, I use vanilla flavor. Vanilla flavor in puff-puff just takes it to another level. So you can do that if you like. I added warm water or a half cup of hot water, or you can use warm water into my milk mix because my milk and eggs were cold. I wanted to bring the temperature to warm so that it will help our puff-puff to be okay or better. The ingredients will absorb easily into our puff-puff batter. This one you are not proofing. This is no proof puff-puff. So once you mix your batter like so, go on now to cut into the oil. I love this recipe because it was so light, it was easy to fry. You don't need to allow your puff-puff to proof, and you do not need yeast. Once you scoop your batter into the oil, make sure you fry on consistently medium heat. Stir continuously until you have this golden brown look. Take it out of the oil. Some persons will say this is not puff-puff, this is buns. But I did not add baking powder and I did not add yeast. So why will you say it is buns? For me, I call it puff buns because it is a bit soft. It's not hard like the regular bun and it's not so soft like the regular puff-puff. But it is soft, chewy, fluffy and satisfying. So if you don't want to have the regular puff-puff, opting for this kind of puff-puff recipe is something you also love and enjoy, and your family will also love. Another puff-puff recipe is puff-puff adding milk and eggs. Some persons want to add milk and egg to their puff-puff. They don't know how to go about it. This is how you do it. Add in your milk and your egg into a bowl. Add in all your ingredients, your instant yeast or active dry yeast. Just make sure they are warm or they are at room temperature. Add in 1 tablespoon of butter, either melted butter or your regular butter. Add in your flour. Mix them all together. Go on now to add in more warm water to get your batter together. It is so easy. Make sure your batter is not so thick. Make sure it is not so light. Just make sure the consistency is somewhere around the middle. This is what we are going for. At this stage, you're going to cover your batter and allow it to proof for 45 minutes to 1 hour. This is a rich kind of puff-puff where you use egg and milk. It is really satisfying and enjoyable. different from the regular puff puff we are used to. After proofing, make sure your fingers are very wet. Go on now to mix your batter fully and get ready to scoop and cut into the oil. When you see this puff puff recipe, you can see that it is filled up to the brim, so it is fully proofed. We're going to be cutting into the oil. Make sure your oil is at medium heat, as in terms of frying, consistently medium heat. Take your milk and egg puff puff out of the oil, set in a sieve or salver to strain excess oil. And this is the yummy, stretchy, fluffy, delicious puff puff recipe you get at the end of the day using milk and egg. All these 4 different puff puff recipe, you can take them to another level by making them look like this, so that you can use them for special occasions, for birthdays, for weddings, for family get together, or even for special clients. So if you want your puff puff to look like this, not like the regular puff puff, and you want to top it up with some toppings and some design just to step it up, I want you to click on the video on the end screen or the video in the description box and watch full recipe on how to step up your puff puff from 1 to 100. Bye.